Barcelona plans on trying for Bernardo Silva this summer as long as their fair play improves and are in the 1-1 rule. Joan Laporta wants to use the Vitor Roque approach, which is a 6-month installment plan. Paying the release clause is what City will put on the table, and this is according to Sport. Now, Barcelona have always wanted Bernardo Silva. They have attempted to sign the player for the past 3 transfer windows, but the economic situation does not allow it to happen. I remember back on the summer of 2023, Xavi Hernandez wanted Dembele and Bernardo Silva as options for the right-wing position. That was supposed to be our team for this season, is to have Bernardo Silva and Dembele. And even if those 2 options did not work out, the backup plan was to have Lionel Messi and for him to return. But none of those options were given, and even Dembele left to PSG. So Xavi Hernandez was really stranded, and that is why today Xavi Hernandez is opting for Lamine Yamal, and that was a blessing in disguise because Lamine Yamal is turning out to be probably a generational talent for Barcelona, and he has the potential to be even better than what Dembele and what Bernardo Silva currently are. As for Lamine Yamal himself, he could have not asked for a better setup. This season is perfect for him to really prove why he is a special player, and since then his career has been skyrocketing. Many clubs want Lamine Yamal. The Spanish national team wants to use him for the Euros and also the Olympics. He is very much in demand. But now, fast forwarding to today, Barcelona and Xavi Hernandez want to go for the player again, and I think that is because of 3 very important reasons. Point number 1, it is a request from Xavi Hernandez. Xavi has always liked Silva because of what he does provide on the pitch, and we know this very well. Deco also knows Bernardo Silva because they have talked before. They're both also Portuguese, and so I'm sure that Deco has some sort of connections with Silva. And then lastly, point number 3 will be about Jorge Mendes, who is the agent of Silva, and Jorge Mendes has only been working with Barcelona. I would even say that Jorge Mendes is low-key like the sporting director for Barcelona because he has been helping Joan Laporta on trying to afford Joao Felix, Joao Cancelo, and now he's trying to help Barcelona on trying to afford Bernardo Silva. So it is almost inevitable for Barcelona to be linked to the player again. Could it possibly happen finally in this summer of 2024? We'll see. Silva is a creative midfielder. Barcelona and Xavi like to possess a possession-based and fluid style type of play, and they have always valued midfielders who are creative, visionaries, have high technical abilities to be able to unlock the defenses and to create goal-scoring opportunities. Silva is like the perfect fit for a team like Barcelona. He is exceptional in his dribbling skills, the close ball control, the ability to find teammates in tight spaces. It is amazing. Also, they value him because of his versatility. Silva can play in many different roles. He can play as a central midfielder, as the attacking midfielder, also as a winger. Sometimes we even see him as a central defensive midfielder, which is crazy. So he can adapt to different tactical setups. Another reason why Barcelona want the player is because of his tactical intelligence. He has a deep understanding of positional play. We have seen him do that under Pep Guardiola. Silva can also read the game, make intelligent off-the-ball movements, and most importantly, maintain positional discipline, which really does align with Barcelona's footballing philosophy. And the last point on why I do think that Barcelona want him is because of his winning mentality. He has already won a Champions League with Man City, multiple Premier Leagues. He knows what it takes to really become a successful team, and he wants to be part of that all the time. Bernardo Silva always wants to win and only win. His experience in high-pressure situations is really going to be needed at a club like Barcelona. Barcelona next season might be in more high-intensity positions, like maybe in the Copa del Rey final, maybe in the Champions League quarterfinals, semifinals. Who knows where Barcelona is going to be at next season, but Silva is definitely a player that can bring in the experience for the young players. And remember how I did say that Jorge Mendes has been working with Barcelona to make sure that maybe there could be a possibility to bring in Silva to Barca? He's not the only agent involved. Another agent is Joao Felix. Joao Felix has really been pushing for this signing. Earlier today, Joao Felix wanted to speak about Silva and what was his current status and his positioning with the club, and this is what he said about Silva. I think that I have convinced Bernardo Silva to join Barcelona. That's all true, but it doesn't depend on him right now. He asked me about places to live, places to eat, safety, taxes, everything. If he comes, Barcelona will be delighted to have Bernardo Silva. The competitiveness in the club is very great. There are times when some are better than others. I always did my thing. I never lowered my arms. And so this is Joao Felix basically saying, hey, look, like I have convinced Bernardo Silva to come to Barcelona. I welcome him to come to the club because I enjoy this competition that we are building in the squad. And that's very interesting insights because now thinking about it, Barcelona might become Portugal FC, or like they might become City in some capacity, because if they bring in Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, Joao Cancelo, that's a lot of Man City players. It's crazy. And so the fact that Felix is pushing for this move, it's very exciting. And I feel like he knows something that we just don't know, which is why he has been so open on talking about he has convinced Silva to join join Barcelona. And also, speaking about Joao Felix, it amazes me just how much pull Felix actually has in the footballing world, because I remember Florian Wirtz, a player from Bayer Leverkusen, also linked to FC Barcelona. Somebody asked Wirtz who was his idol in football right now, and he said Joao Felix. He said, Joao Felix, he's a similar type of player to me. He's very creative, and I learned that from him. So I'm like, dude, like, where does Felix get this pull power? Why is he being admired by players who are only 2 to 3 years younger than him? And so I don't know. Florian Wirtz has always been a fan of Joao Felix. He even said that one of the players that does influence him is Joao Felix, and that was back in 2020. So that was not the first time he talked about Joao Felix and how much he has admired him. Could he want the same footsteps of Joao Felix and maybe join Barcelona? And so aside from that, overall, when it comes to this Silva operation, I do find this very exciting. I would greenlight it, but I do find it a little strange. I'm not going to lie, because of two reasons. Point number one is because of the policies that were in place coming from Deco. They have said that they're not willing to pay for players that are nearing the end of their career, but they're also willing to pay for players who are almost at the end of their contract. Another transfer policy is they only want to sign top world-class players, and the other one is they want to rely on La Masia for depth. I have no idea where Silva falls in any of these categories. Maybe he falls in the category of signing only top world-class players, but is he really a top world-class player? I mean, it's subjective. Many might say that no, we only want top players like Musiala, Haaland, or Kylian Mbappe. Maybe Barcelona just see Silva that great. Like, maybe they just see Silva as a player that is a game changer, and I could be wrong, but again, I do find it very strange. And another reason why I find it strange is because, let's just say, okay, fine, Barcelona want him because he is a top player, and that is why they're willing to invest heavily on Bernardo Silva and pay the 50 million euros. I don't even think that he's a priority. I think that Barcelona need to be talking about the left wing position and the CDM position. That is much more necessary than the right wing position. Even if we say Silva is going to come here to play as a central midfielder, right, and play with Frankie and Christensen to give Gundogan rest, still, I would prioritize the left wing position and the CDM position over the central midfield position. And so I would like to hear that Barcelona will be prioritizing the left wing position and the CDM position first, and then once they do have that taken care of, then they will say, okay, how can we sign Bernardo Silva? That would be fine. That would be okay. If they do that, I would be really happy. I also think that this does rule off the potential signing of Estevao Williams, aka Messinho, because it says here, according to Fabrizio Romano, that at the moment Barcelona are not considering on signing Messinho because he simply is not a priority. Messinho does cost 60 million euros. That is what the club is asking for, which is 10 million euros more than someone like Bernardo Silva. There has been many reasons on why Barcelona are not really opting for Messinho. Another reason why is because Sport have also claimed that Barcelona is yet to implement signing Messinho because he plays in the same position of Lamine Yamal, and also because they're at the same age, which is 16 years old. The club considers Lamine Yamal to be the star of the project, and they don't want to do anything that could affect his development. Now, this makes sense. I understand why Barcelona might start thinking that, you know, Messinho is an amazing talent, but we want to focus only on Lamine Yamal because we want to nurture the player in the best way possible to make sure that he becomes the best player in the world. I understand with Bernardo Silva because he's going to be 30 years old next season. I think that if you give Silva a 2 to 3 year contract and you rotate Lamine Yamal throughout these next 2 or 3 years until he's 20 years old, by that time, at the end of his era with Barcelona, you lend Yamal the full-time role. Because right now, what have we been saying over the past few videos? We have said that Lamine Yamal should not be playing all games. He's 16 years old. If you over-maximize the player, he might end up like Pedri, Ansu, Gavi, Balde. Barcelona need to learn from those mistakes. There needs to be another player that can take on Lamine Yamal's position, sometimes maybe take away 40% of his game time, because right now, Lamine Yamal is playing in every minute and in every game. And it's important for us to take care of Yamal in the short term. And the way that we could handle the short-term problems is by signing someone like Silva, who can give 2 to 3 years with us. And then again, by the time Lamine Yamal is 20 years old, he'll have a better understanding of his limits, his playing style, his capabilities, etc. It's a much easier transition. And yes, I could imagine maybe Messinho and Lamine Yamal together, and eventually maybe in about 3 years or 4 years, when they're both 20 to 21 years old, they're going to be asking to play even more. They're going to want to be in the light. It does seem healthier that Silva and Lamine Yamal do carry us for the next 2 or 3 years. Now, this does not mean that I completely want Messinho out of the picture. I still want in some way like Messinho at Barcelona, but if Barcelona believe, if Deco, if Joan Laporta and Xavi Hernandez believe that the future of Barcelona should only be Lamine, then so be it. And like I've said, with Silva coming in, maybe it also does not mean that they're going to be rotating a lot with Lamine Yamal. Like maybe they greenlight the transfer and we see Silva playing as a central midfielder with Frankie and Christensen to allow Gundogan to get some rest because he's playing like every game. And I know that it's not healthy. And then if you have Bernardo Silva with Frankie de Jong and Christensen, you can still have Lamine Yamal playing on the right wing position. So you can do many things, many different approaches. The fact that Bernardo Silva can play as a central midfielder maybe could also be another reason why Barcelona are opting for him instead of any other right winger like Messinho. And so let me know in the comment sections down below, what do you think about the signing of Silva in the summer of 2024? Would you greenlight this move? That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.